Hello, I'm William Gallagher. This is MacNN. One more thing, and please note, you're going to hear this here first or second, depending on how busy you've been, possibly 10th, but there are new MacBooks. And can I just remind you, previously on One More Thing, but I also think that's quite good because right now, today, I think is the worst time to buy any Apple gear at all. Now, I know you've just bought an iPad Pro, but that is the exception. So far as I can see, everything else is late. I don't think we're going to get a new iPad Air, but we should have had a MacBook by now. Where's the Mac Pro? Where's the iMac? I think I need to go into an Apple store and buy all of these things so that Apple brings out new ones for the rest of everybody. I'm willing to take that hit for the team. So, hey, did we call it last week? We being me, William, hello, and Malcolm Owen over there. Malcolm Owen, hello.
Hello, I cannot remember what I did last week.
Okay. Malcolm's had a more interesting time than me. I've been poring over recordings of One More Thing and the spec sheets from the new MacBooks. But we said last time, specifically last Thursday, when One More Thing airs, it was a terrible, terrible time to buy anything. And actually, if you went down to the Apple Store today and waited an hour, you might be in for a nice surprise. And ta-da, there you are, the entire MacBook range, well, the MacBook part of the range, refreshed incredibly a bit-ish. So we called it based only on an awful lot of effort and typical cycles of update. But we called it. Okay, let's just point that out. And now, 1 week further on, we have these machines out, and I'm going to tell you this. I actually want one. Doesn't mean I can afford it, but I want one. Malcolm, I think you don't. Why not?
Well, define don't.
Wouldn't buy one yourself, wouldn't recommend somebody else, think there's something missing, or there's something in some way inadequate.
Okay, well, for a start, let's just cover what has changed. 12-inch MacBook, it now has 6th generation dual-core Intel Core M processors, which go up to 1.3 gigahertz, turbo boost speeds up to 3.1, faster memory, uses Intel HD graphics 515, which is apparently 25% faster. It's got a single USB-C 3.1 generation 1 port, which is the only real stumbling block to the thing as a whole.
Okay, let's pause for just a moment. As soon as you start mentioning numbers, so it's not used as a general thing, I like to glaze a little bit. The bit where you said 25% faster and things, that I get. But the specifics of the processor for it and what Intel calls the latest one, I struggle with that. I look at a machine instead and I think, will this do what I want? And do I like using it? And is it going to be worth it to me? And I look at this and I can't really justify the price. But in every other way, it's very nice. And then maybe if there are two of them I have to compare, that's when I'll get into capacities and statistics and figures. But I'm not led by the specs in a way, which I think is actually quite an Apple buying sort of way. And you have a much more informed way that I think, in this one sense, is probably colouring you against it. I agree.
Well, this is the thing. There's only really one thing that's spoiling the MacBook.
For you.
MacBook squared? Yeah.
I quite like that.
Yeah. There's only one thing that's really spoiling it, and it is that single connection problem.
You see, I don't see it as a problem. I get that it's a thing, but I think of how often I try to plug anything into my iPad, for example. How often I do have an very old now MacBook I carry around, and yeah, I connect a presentation thing to it, less and less, actually. So I see that it's a thing, but I don't see it as a great stumbling block, as you and a lot of other people do. There is an adapter, isn't there, to let you plug other things in?
Yeah, but that involves carrying yet another thing with you.
Yeah, I see that one. Yes.
The key here is Generally speaking, I prefer allowing people to buy their computing devices based upon what they need it for, and whether they actually want it to. I'm not going to argue over individual brands of hammer in B&Q, as it were. If you need a hammer, you need a hammer. You need a tool, you get that tool. It's the same as with PCs, Macs, whatever. If it does the job for you, that's perfectly fine. The problem is this tool, in this case, has issues that I can't overcome. And that's basically it. And that main big thing there is how I use computers. Namely, I use a second screen. So sitting in front of me right now for my Mac Mini, I've got two screens going. I've got tons of cables going into it. Keyboard, mouse, HDMI, and an adapter that allows me to run another HDMI, this microphone, webcam, network, and so on and so forth. That's a large amount of cables. I've got 2 ports left open on it, and I can't see how I'm able to plug all of that into a MacBook without having an adapter, and that means having to carry yet another thing with me, and hoping that the adapter has all the connections that I need. The only other way around that is to buy stuff in order to counter this lack of connectivity, or to be very careful with what devices I plug into that single connection.
No, there is another alternative. There is another solution. It's buy a different MacBook.
Yeah, that's the thing. The solution is look elsewhere, and that's what I'm going to have to do. But many people will find that does everything they need to. If I want to listen to music, I know full well I'll either have to buy said adapter or get Bluetooth headphones.
No, there is a headphone jack on them.
There is a headphone jack?
Yeah.
I apologise.
No, because I went through the same thing. I was genuinely thinking about it, and I was surprised to find that too. I believed it was one port. But actually, I do have Bluetooth headphones, so I wasn't knocked out by that.
That's actually a good point, because last week I went to PC World to look at things to buy for my new shiny little British Precious. How are you doing over there? Yes, you are. Sorry. Small iPad Pro. I was looking for things to buy for it. Went to the headphone section because my headphones don't fit it, believe it or not. And I only just realised how cheap Bluetooth headphones are getting nowadays. As in, vaguely decent, at least at the level that I care about headphones, are now almost affordable to everyone. That's brilliant.
Come on. I'm actually using some Bluetooth headphones now, but they're not mine. I was loaned them. I think they cost around £30, and I thought that was a good price, and actually I really rather like them. But before then, every other one I've tried has been in the hundreds.
For the most part, most headphones I use, you're looking at £20 or less.
Oh.
I only have one pair of headphones that I use that cost more, but that's because I want headphones that can last a very long time and may seem like a good investment, and the ones I'm wearing are, which is a gaming headset from Razer called the whatever nameless snake it is that I can't remember.
Sorry, this is going slightly off the point. What's a gaming headset? I mean, I guess it's headphones, but what makes it a gaming?
Headphones, microphone, generally geared towards people who play games on, well, a gaming system of some kind.
That's so me. But isn't that the thing? You're saying that there's this basically a flaw in the MacBook, and I would disagree. I would say that it's a thing that stops you wanting it.
Yeah,
for me,
that's the thing.
Not a concern. So it's a very good machine. Just doesn't happen to be right for you. How about I'll just go get one and be very happy, and you go get one and another sort and be very happy, and our bank accounts, bankers will talk to each other about what horrible human beings we are, and then the new iMac will come out, and I'll want that instead. Okay, let's focus on the really important thing here. The one detail, actually the tech spec you did not mention, and I'm shocked at you. The big difference with these new MacBooks, there is now a version in rose gold. That doesn't change your mind.
No, it means absolutely nothing to me, unfortunately.
Well,
I'm never a fan of rose gold, but that's because I don't like buying pink devices. Really,
yeah, fair enough. But I read that, and I must admit, my first thought was, would I buy rose gold? Don't know. Might have a look at it first, but leaning towards no. Um, but then probably Samsung's going to come out with something like it. And sure enough, today, the next day, Samsung's made a revolutionary announcement of a pink gold version of the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. Now, you'll know those machines. I know they're phones, aren't they? Phablets, rather. But now you can get them in pink gold. Isn't it amazing that Samsung can come to this shocking, revolutionary upgrade on a phone the day after?
I know. I mean, it's difficult for me to even put up my pretense of trying to be even-handed, but yeah, this is quite a bad move. What
Yeah,
this is very copying, but then again, other people are doing they're doing rose gold. Oh, we better do a rose gold or slightly pinkish looking phone version to send to people and hopefully cash in on before Apple cashes in too much on it.
To be fair, Apple, you can argue, doing the gold ones, not the rose gold, is copying what I think is a market trend in China or something. It happens to be a popular colour there, and so they're pursuing it. So everybody's pursuing something. I can see that. But in this week's Apple History column on MacNN, I read all of the original documents where Apple was suing Samsung over copying things, and it was down to the pixel detail they were claiming. 373 odd pages with screen grabs, documents, everything. It was originally fascinating, and after a bit just overwhelming, the amount of copying that goes on. I paused there, you could hear me pause something, and have I got to say allegedly, because that's still in play. No, I think Samsung's admitted it, they're just fighting over the price they pay for it. Yeah, but the degree, it always tickles me that Samsung has thousands of designers and Apple has about 3 or something, yet it's to Apple we go. But, okay, let's put some things aside there. Let's look at where Samsung is legitimately ahead of Apple, and ahead of Apple in the UK, where we are, for one more thing. McDonald's in the UK has announced that Samsung tablets of some description are going to be installed, provided in their restaurants. Yeah, they already obviously do free Wi-Fi, which is incredibly handy. I've actually parked outside a McDonald's store using their Wi-Fi on various trips abroad. Now, there's experience of the future. Samsung tablets in fast food. Do you know anything about which tablets or what they're going to be used for?
I don't know which tablets, but they're basically going to be used for providing access to the internet, some mobile games, and the ability to use some social media apps. That's basically it.
So will I be able to go into my local downtown McDonald's, nab a table fast, and order my food from there and have them delivered? Is that even faster fast food? Or
No, as far as I'm aware, no, they're not doing any sort of ordering from a tablet or even tableside ordering, as you were seemingly alluding to. But that, or being able to order without having to stand in the queue and being surrounded by screaming children wanting their Happy Meal, that actually sounds quite appealing. When I went to Mobile World Congress a few years ago, they had a McDonald's very close by, and I didn't know anywhere else that did it at the time, but this one in Barcelona, you went to the counter, you got the choice, so you could either go to the counter directly, talk to the person over the counter, try and work out what Spanish for Big Mac is, and order it that way, or you could go over to the side where they had about 7 or 8 of these terminals, touchscreen terminals, where you press on the different menu items to order it, and then you finish your order, you pay at the terminal, and then a little side bit, someone turns up there and hands you your food, and you get told to go and eat it somewhere else.
That sounded rude then, that last bit.
I'm just assuming that's what's being said because they were saying words that I didn't understand because I don't speak Spanish.
There is something similar at Oxford Service Station on the M6. I don't think it's for McDonald's, but it's for Burger King or something like that. And yeah, you're right. Actually, in the middle of a very busy motorway service station, it is handy.
I want that. I just want to minimise the amount of contact I have with humans in a restaurant.
Okay. If you hadn't just said in a restaurant, I would have said, oh, all right, goodbye. TV shows. We both like TV shows. Apple is going to make some hit TV shows. That's nice. Allegedly. I know, I have some thoughts about this, but do you have any information about... Nobody has any information. Do you have anything... Has anybody said anything believable about Apple's plans in this way?
Well, there's been rumours for quite a while, but there's been a report by Fast Company. Sources apparently say Apple has been, air quotes, disorganised in its ability to actually make programming.
That's actually Fastco. I didn't realise it was coming through. I read Fast Company's website quite a lot. I like some of their stuff. I have no idea what that means, that they're reliably informed or not, but I like what I read. So it comes from there. Okay. The thing I heard, I don't know if it's from that, is that Apple's intention is to make hit TV shows. And I've got to admit, I laughed when I heard about that, because that reminds me of UK Prime Minister David Cameron making a speech about the British film industry. And he told British film producers to only make hit films. And I'm looking at that, and I thought he was kidding at first, like, how do you possibly know? But I realised, no, he was absolutely serious. Only put your money into films that will make money. And actually at the time he was lauding the King's Speech as being a great success, because it was a great success. But there is not one single pixel of a chance that anybody could have predicted it would have done any of the business that it did. The topic, the size, the scale, the stars, nothing could have said it would be a hit, and nothing ever can. You never know. So I actually was quite aghast at this. I laughed at first, but then I realised the depth of ignorance exhibited by the Prime Minister over something I know about suggests to me he's probably equally ignorant about all these many, many other things that I don't know about. So I came away really quite frightened by that little thing, from amused to frightened in one little go. And now I'm just reminded of this by people saying Apple wants to make hits, and well, duh, really? It's a shock. But I think it's interesting that it came now, because Amazon has just announced that it's slightly unbundling its TV stuff. You no longer have to pay for the Prime membership per year. You can just buy the TV stuff monthly. That puts it more head-to-head with Netflix. And immediately after that, I read, just before you and I started talking, Netflix is slightly walking back on its previous position of something that I actually care about. I'm hoping to go on a trip soon, and I have Netflix and I have lots to watch, and there's nothing I can do about it. I cannot say, get me the rest of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Season 2, please, and leave it on my iPad to watch on the plane. No downloading the material. And now, after years of saying there never will be, Netflix is saying, well, we need to look at that. The fact that it came within 20 minutes of Amazon's announcement makes me think I like the Amazon announcement, but we'll see where this goes next. Just out of interest, by the way, are you following Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
No. I'm having to pare down my viewing to basically things like The Blacklist, Elementary, NCIS, Criminal Minds, and whatever useless game show the BBC is producing.
Useless game shows? I don't watch any of those. Is it pointless that you watch on the game shows?
No, I think... let's see. It's not just the BBC, it's also other channels. Because I'm a game show nut, I do look to see what new game shows there are out there. Can't Touch This is stupid.
Oh, yes, I thought that was a joke. Yes. Well done, you touched the car or something. It's a bit, I saw it as I...
The thing is, as a climactic moment... not Touch the Truck. No, it's a completely different game show. Can't Touch This is where a bunch of contestants take part on a Wipeout-style course, quote, touching prizes to win them. One, no, they don't win them, they bank them. So if they actually get to the final bit, they can try and win them. Secondly, if they are the winner and get to the final bit, they have to then go through another ordeal to try and touch the prizes they've already touched in order to actually win the prizes.
Okay, let's just take this game show analytical mind of yours and apply it to something else. Because You have a depth of thought here that I wouldn't have ascribed to British game shows. But things I also don't understand that feel related to me. This week, Siri announced when Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference is.
The Worldwide Developers Conference, dubbed WWDC, takes place from the 13th to the 17th of June in San Francisco.
Now, okay, that's quite cute, and I can see a logic in people thinking, aye, is Siri going to be an important party? Could we please have Siri on the Mac? But what I don't understand, Inspector, is this. Who in the world sits around asking Siri really targeted questions? When is WWDC? When will Kraft start making better chocolate? All of this stuff. Who does it and how do they find out?
Well, to be fair, if you look at the different points of what happens for an announcement, it kind of makes sense. It's probably a reader of the, I think it was spotted by 9 to 5 Mac, or at least a reader of 9 to 5 Mac. A reader probably thought, Apple have been announcing things or doing weird things with Siri in relation to major announcements, like that joke answer they were doing before. It's around this time of year that they announce when WWDC is going to happen. I wonder if Siri knows when WWDC is. And then they just ask it and see if there's an answer, and there is an answer, and they went, to 9 to 5 Mac went, oh my God, you've got to try this out. Oh, it's funny. Ha, lol.
Do you think we're going to see some Siri-ness at WWDC?
Did you really have to pull out that pun?
It actually wasn't an intentional pun. I just stumbled.
Siri-ness.
On it. Yeah. That just sort of happened. Apparently I can be serious. Yeah. Okay. You just want me to move on, don't you? Well, let me move on to something else that's Siri related. Let's keep a handle on Siri for a minute. And actually this was quite serious, but not as serious as you'd expect. Apple has apparently paid up around, is it $25 million in some sort of Siri lawsuit? And on the one hand, I'm thinking, does that mean, what, did they nick Siri? Is that what the lawsuit was about? And on the other, $25 million does seem quite small for an Apple-related court case at the moment. What's the sits with this?
Basically, in October 2012, Marathon Patent Group and Dynamic Advances sued Apple because Apple allegedly infringed on a patent for natural language interface using constrained dictionary of results. Yeah, I mean, I've read as much of the patents as I could stand, and I.
No. I made it through 373 pages of the Apple v. Samsung lawsuit of 2011. You're going to say you didn't make it through one patent?
It's just it basically described. Find out what person is saying using databases. Use databases to find answer. I mean, for legal purposes and legal reasons, it goes into an awful lot more detail, and there's probably some sort of nuance about what Apple is specifically doing and what the patent specifically claims, and there's probably a lot more about that as well. But
yeah, I thought that would be more interesting than it was.
I'd rather go back to watch Can't Touch This.
Yeah. No. It's not like those are the only two options. You see, we could go watch YouTube videos that begin, "What's up, guys?" Got to be a few of those out today.
I remember when YouTube was basically you've been framed to America's funniest home movies, but instantly accessible. That was a joyous, wonderful time.
Yeah. Not sure I'm going to go with you on that one. Let's not make that our thingies of the week unless you really want to. Look, give me something exciting. You always pick something I really don't expect, and occasionally I've asked you to pick one because I'm certain it's what you're going to go, and you've gone, nah, can beat that. What have you got that can beat this for me this week with your thingy?
Well, as you may be aware, I am what some people would call strategically lazy.
Don't know whether it's wise to agree or not because I don't know. I'm just going to go.
Basically, I will do things in such a way if it allows me to avoid having to do extra work. And since getting the iPad Pro, I've discovered one little bit of work that I really don't like doing, and that's trying to get the USB adapter out of the surge protector I've got here, because I have to reach around a load of equipment and pull it out of the surge protector, and it gets stuck, and I have to push against the surge protector at the same time, and it just gets really annoying. So I was in the market to get hold of a second USB power adapter. Little did I know that when I went into the shop, they'd actually get me something a little bit better than I thought. They got hold of a USB power adapter, but it's a 12-watt one.
Yes, we're onto these numbers then with letters actually. 12 watts.
The one supplied with the iPad Pro 9.7 that I have is a 10.
Hello? That sounds wrong.
Yeah, it's a 20% difference. A 20% increase just getting the second one. So I did what any sane person would do. I came home, I went, right, okay, that lower wattage one is going to be put into the travel bag. So it did. And now I'm using the 12-watt one all the time. And I really cannot tell if it improves the charging time or anything else, but I assume it does. But, yeah, it was interesting to see that there's a slight difference there, and it's beneficial.
There's no potential damage or something? Is it that the iPad isn't supposed to use a 12-watt one? I don't know why that would be, but is it nothing like that?
Well, the box basically said it worked with every single modern Apple device nowadays that uses USB charging.
Well, that sounds good enough to me, especially since you're the one trying it out.
Yeah.
Let us know if there's any incidents. Okay. Do you mind if I ask, how much does that cost? I don't know what an adapter costs these days.
Oh, crikey. I think it was about... it was either 20 or 25, I can't remember. It was an official Apple one, so...
Oh, right. That automatically puts it in that range, doesn't it? Yes, whatever it is. Okay. All right, so you're happy with that, clearly. You're recommending it, clearly. But I don't think it's the longest thingy of the week you've had. So do you think I could possibly have two?
Well, unless your longest thingy of the week also happens to be the length of the 1 meter USB to Lightning cable that I bought at the same time, go for it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how to work out that metaphor in metric, but I wasn't going to do this. I had one thingy of the week, but we mentioned it earlier, it came up, and I realised, actually, in the cracks between working, in the late nights when finishing, what I'm actually obsessed this week with is Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Season 2. The whole thing dropped on Netflix on Friday the 15th. I've only seen 2 episodes so far, but I will binge the moment I physically can, and it makes me happy. Particularly second season is always very tricky, and just as a writer you can see the retooling, the setting stuff up to give it legs for longer, but that's fine, it's doing it okay, and it's as joyously, cleverly, happily, funnily as it was before. So that's great. But it's not a technological thing, although it comes via Netflix. Give me that. I'm going to go for my official proper thing of the week to be split screen in iOS 9 for this reason. Previously, I'm not sure how much you've used split screen on your iPad Pro, because I think it's of most use on the larger iPad, but you open up an app as normal. You swipe in from the right and you get a panel and you can pull up most of your other apps, and from that point on you have one app on the left, one app on the right. That's nice. Regularly I would actually like to swap them because I want to keep the one on the right and get rid of the one on the left, and I've this week discovered that action where you swipe to bring it to the middle of the screen and become split screen, if you at any point grab that same grab handle and carry it on to the right, you drag the new app to be full screen, and then you can just nip your finger back to the right of that and drag in to pick the next app for it. It's like moving them along on a little conveyor belt. Ridiculously small thing. I don't know how it took me this long to find it, but I've been using it 10 times since I found it yesterday. So, split screen, iOS 9, thingy of the week. Which of us is the more persnickety anarchy here? Me with that, or you with that insightful game show analysis? That would be your equivalent of not knowing whether there's a safe answer and going, wouldn't it?
Kinda, yeah.
Does sound like it's time to shut up then for both of us, doesn't it? How about we just say, well, and next time we'll talk about something else, okay? Goodbye.
Goodbye.